What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you to a not-so-brand-new Let's Play of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer for the Nintendo Switch. That's right. Last time I Let's Played this game, it was on the Nintendo 64 in glorious 360p, and this time around, we're getting the 1080p experience of the remaster of the Dreamcast edition. Now, I don't like to usually redo Let's Plays unless I can actually bring something new to the table with it, and this time around I definitely can, especially because this game got a re-release on the Switch as well as the PlayStation 4 not just a couple of months ago. So I'm sure it's still fresh in a lot of people's minds, and there are people still picking this game up. Therefore, I think it's actually relevant to Let's Play this game again. But on top of that, like I said, this is a remaster of the Dreamcast version, not the Nintendo 64 version, and the Dreamcast version is, in fact, superior to the N64 version for multiple reasons, not the least of which is cutscenes like you're seeing right now. You also get some glorious Dreamcast PlayStation 1 era FMV cutscenes, which I will not be showing in this Let's Play because, one, they are ugly as sin, but more importantly, because I don't want to get hit with copyrights. I really don't. Disney owns Star Wars now, and you just can never be too careful with those sorts of things in a game like this. So yeah, I really don't want that to happen. So we're just going to skip the rest of that and that as well, and we're going to jump right to the title screen. Oh boy, there's so much to talk about with this Let's Play. So what is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer exactly for the uninitiated? It is obviously based off of the pod racing scene from Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, a much beloved movie by all that absolutely nobody hates to this very day. And much like most video games based off of the prequels, this game is fantastic. It is in the same vein as other high-octane fast racing games, much like F-Zero, Fast Racing Neo, Redout. I'm sure there's more that I could probably name that I just can't think of off the top of my head, but very much like those games, although I would argue not quite as difficult as games like those. And I grew up on this game, absolutely loved it, played it to death when I was about 9 or 10 years old, and we're going to be using this profile here. Absolutely loved it to death, played it a ton, but like I've said in the past, I grew up on the N64 version and I didn't really know why it was inferior or even that it was inferior to the Dreamcast version for many reasons. There are some, first of all, like I said, there's the cutscenes issue, but another thing is that the Dreamcast version actually has working mechanics that the N64 version did not implement properly, and we'll be getting into those in this episode. This video is going to be kind of a long one, as you can already see from the length of the video, and in fact, all these episodes are going to be kind of long because I want to get through this Let's Play in only a handful of episodes. I'm going to be doing 30 to 35-minute episodes every single week, once a week, only on Wednesdays, sort of similar to how I do Let's Plays like Fallout and Skyrim, where I just give you these long episodes that, you know, again, once a week that just kind of cover a lot of ground within them, and then that's really it. It's just, you know, we don't just do little tasks, we do big tasks throughout the entirety of the episode, and we're going to be trying to get a lot done in this one. So let's jump into the first race. Whenever you start a race, you're given an option to choose the winnings distribution. Always go with winner takes all. You never want to ever settle for second, third, or fourth. Even if you do set these winning distributions, you are just losing out on money every single time. Winner takes all, you got to get first place. If you're not getting first place, you might as well not even try to progress. Winner takes all, we're just going to start the race. So, let's talk about the controls of this one. So right off the bat, you can actually start by getting a boost. What you want to do is hold down the acceleration button and then press the boost right at the end, which I did not do properly. I will try to show that in another race in this episode, I promise. So what are the different buttons? Well, like I said, I'm using a third-party PowerA controller, so you know, it's got pretty much the same layout as the Switch Pro controller. Right trigger is to accelerate. If you hold up, you can see this little bar start to fill on the side next to my speedometer. Once that fills to yellow, you want to press A, and you can start a boost. Now, the boost meter is going to start to fill and head towards the red button. Once it gets really, really close, you're going to want to cancel out of the boost, or if you're about to careen into a wall, cancel out of the boost. And that will allow your pod racer to start to cool down. If you let it reach the red button in time, you are actually going to catch your engines on fire, which is a bad time for everyone involved. You, as you can see on the bottom left, have what is a condition meter. The lines around the engines themselves tells you the heat, or the temperature, of your engines, and then the 3 or 6 blocks of green themselves tell you the condition of your engine, which can be degraded by running into walls, scratching against walls, crashing into things, etc. Now, to fix any engine conditions, you're going to want to hold down the right bumper, which puts you in repair mode. And as you can see, since my engines aren't in really any bad shape, I can't actually repair anything right now. But once the engines start to go into the yellow, the orange, or the red, you can start to repair them, which doing so slows down your pod racer while the engines auto-repair themselves. Obviously, you want to do this because the more damage you take, eventually your engines are just going to wear all the way down and you will just explode. Exploding has multiple bad side effects. Aside from setting you back in the race, it also can destroy your parts, which are very important to this game's progression system. In the Nintendo 64 version, you could just straight up buy parts and steadily upgrade your pod racer without any sorts of consequences, but that is not how the game is intended to work, at least in tournament mode. In tournament mode, you are supposed to buy parts and then upkeep those parts by not crashing and winning races, and also having pit droids work on said parts. As you go through the races, your parts will slowly degrade, helped along by crashing in races or destroying your engines and the like. And once your part is completely degraded, you will just straight up lose it, which they cost a lot of money, so that is straight up winnings and money lost. So there is a strategy to actually keeping your parts in good shape and upgrading your parts slowly but surely while not wasting any money along the way, and we'll be getting into those soon enough. So as you can see, obviously the whole point of this game is to just upkeep your boost as much as you possibly can, keep your speed as high as possible, and win the race in magnificent fashion. That right there is essentially a tutorial track. It is a much watered down version of the actual course from the movie. We will get to experience the full version much later on in the Let's Play itself. Alright, so as we head into this next race, we can actually start unlocking characters. Now we're going to hit winner takes all, but before I actually jump in, I'm going to go buy some pit droids. This is the first thing you want to do in the game, is buy pit droids. Buy all the pit droids you can. I can buy 2 right now, and I will be buying a 3rd after the race is over. Also going to change my vehicle here, and we're going to go over some of the other racers so you can actually take a look at their statistics, and I can go over what statistics mean. So you have traction, which obviously helps you on slippery or rough terrain, particularly ice levels with ice in it, or levels with like swamp, I believe, also makes you kind of slippery. Good traction allows you to actually maintain control on those terrains. Turning is turning, obviously, helps your turn radius, makes it tighter, makes it easier to make really tricky turns. Acceleration is very self-explanatory, gets you up to your top speed faster. Top speed is very self-explanatory, your maximum speed. Air brake. So braking in this game is actually very poor. You are not really meant to brake all that much, and there are certain courses, especially later on in the game, where you will hit such tight turns that you have no choice but to brake. And air brake is actually useful in those scenarios because it allows you to brake and stop faster. Cooling has 2 parts to it. One, it basically slows the buildup of your overheating while using your boost, while also cooling your engines faster once the boost is over, which allows you, again, more boost uptime, which is incredibly important. And then there is repair, which does 2 things. One, it reduces the amount of speed lost while you're in the repair function, and 2, also repairs your engines faster. So these are all different statistics to keep in mind based on how you play the game and what your playstyle is and what pod racers you actually want to use. And I'm just going to be honest here, there are some de facto best and de facto worst racers that I will be explicitly focusing on in this Let's Play. In my initial Let's Play, I attempted to be fair and use as many of the different racers as I could throughout the game. I'm not going to be doing that this time. This time I'm going to be focusing on who the best, what is the best pod racer and who you ought to use at any given moment. And if we're going to be honest, the 2 best pod racers available to you right now, right from the start, is Anakin, but more specifically, even better than him, is this last character, Odie Mandrell. He was actually in the movie, and the guy who sucked a pit droid through his engine and had to forfeit the race as a result, if you remember that from the movie. He is the best character in this entire game, in the game from the startup, and obviously the worst is this guy. I mean, just look at those stats. That is actually just pathetic. Okay, so we're going to be jumping on in with Odie Mandrell, and we're going to start up this next course. This one will actually allow us to unlock a character. So let's skip that F&B cutscene, and let's actually try to get the boost this time. Why am I struggling with this so bad? I had it down for so long, and I can't do it. All All right, so this one right here is actually the shortest course in the entire game. We'll be breezing through this one pretty darn quickly. It's just kind of a glorified circle. It's almost like a NASCAR track. It's very, very short. You pretty much get this experience through the entire race. In fact, as you can see, we're already on the second lap. Very, very simple. Yeah, this course is kind of a joke, but yeah, we're definitely. I want to use this character just because his combination of speed and turning is the best in the game right now. Make sure you're not boosting while going towards walls, because obviously that is a surefire way to blow yourself up, which is oh so fun. So you're going to be noticing as I play through this game, man, this game just does not age well and does not look very good, and that's true. Part of the problem is the fact that N64, the Dreamcast, all those old games relied very heavily on fog to obscure the fact that they couldn't render things in the distance. And typically with remasters and remakes of old games, especially in this era, they tend to forget to re-implement that fog properly, which the fog itself is pretty ugly on its own. But on top of that, it's also quite necessary. This was even a tactic that was used well into the PS2 and Xbox and GameCube days. And when that stuff isn't implemented all that well, it looks pretty bad. So you'll notice that a lot. But again, the picture is clear. It runs at 1080p. It runs at 60 frames per second. So this game still plays just fine. And for that, I actually kind of love it. So I'm going to use Odie Mandrill again. We're going to buy our last pit droid. And now I'm going to talk about the parts degradation mechanic. So if we head to the parts shop itself, you will see that we have a certain number of things for sale. The number of things for sale will increase the further along through the tournament structure you go. And obviously those parts will be better. You can buy any one of these parts and you'll notice right off the bat that, oh, hey, I could just get a nice top speed upgrade. But this is deceptive. You don't actually want to go buying things through the parts shop for a couple of reasons. First of all, let's draw your attention to the part itself that I'm about to buy. You can see price $2,400. It's got a green bar next to it, and then you got replace, which is the part that I currently have, and then below that is trade and cost. So the trade value is the value of my current part. Obviously, the price is of the other part, and then the cost is what I'm actually going to be paying for said part, because whenever you buy a part, you don't just attach the new part and keep the old one. You always have to be swapping them out. You can only have one part at any given time unless the part goes out, and then it will degrade down to your worst possible part. So I will be paying $1,400 here, not $2,400, should I actually want to buy this. But like I said, you don't want to buy from the part shop because of that green bar next to the price. That is the health of said part. And the reason you don't want to do that is because then you have to worry about upkeeping that part right from the get-go. But if you go to the junkyard, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So let's see. I can get a nice traction boost right here. Actually, I can't afford that one. Let's see if I can find one that I can afford that's like kind of minimal. Not that one. You can find like endgame parts right from the get-go in here if you are vigilant. So like, okay, so I can buy this Mark II air brake right here, and its price is a little bit reduced due to the fact that its health is a little bit reduced. Now, me having pit droids is what makes this very interesting. With each pit droid, you can repair or fix one part with every race you win. So since I have 3 pit droids, I can repair 3 parts by not win, but finish. So let me start this over. Excuse me, I am struggling at explaining this. If I have 3 parts that do not have full health, and then I go and finish my next race, my pit droids will have repaired those 3 parts by the end of the race. The reason you want to go to the junkyard is because instead of that part degrading right from the start of that race, instead, you will actually get a freebie with that part for a race where instead of it degrading, it will be repaired. So it allows the parts to last longer. On top of that, once they've repaired the part, its value goes up, which will then allow you to replace that part for cheaper later on. So you always want to be coming to the junkyard to make your purchases. So let's see, can I buy this one at least? No. Is there anything I can buy here? There's not really anything all that good. I guess I'll buy that one because that's worth like nothing, 19. And then I guess I'll buy air brake, and we'll just make small upgrades here with the actual things I can't afford. Can I do my cooling at least? I can do my cooling. Okay, so like that one only is going to cost me 17, which is absolutely worth it because that's barely a dent in my funds. All right, so we bought those 3 parts. Now, once I do this next race and have completely finished it, all 3 parts will be fully repaired by the end of the race. And there I was able to finally get the boost to work. You want to press that A just before you're able to take off from the starting line, which is right after that last sigil or insignia fades away. Okay, so I'm going to try to show all of the alternate paths in this course as we go through it. I'm just going to head this way. By the way, you can change your camera view in this game. You can get this view, this one, and then this far out one, which tends to be my favorite and the one I mostly use throughout this game. Those are your different camera views. You also got different map views, which you can change by pressing at least on the Switch, you can do it by pressing the minus button. We got our standard map view here, and I'm going to try to not... hit that. That is bad. You don't want to be crashing like that ever. Not good. When you're on the ice, you definitely don't want to just aim for a wall. Always make sure you're aiming the proper direction. But anyways, you got a zoomed-in map. You've got no map. You've got this one right here, which only shows when other racers are extremely close to me. Otherwise, they will fade out, as you're about to see right here. Boom. Okay, so yeah. Not really the most helpful unless enemies are extremely close to you. And then the last one is an overall map view. Although it's very obstructive, it shows you the positions of all of the racers, which can be pretty helpful. All right, so we're doing good so far. That one crash was kind of bad, but we'll just keep using our boost over and over and hopefully keeping a good distance on these guys. The cooling on this character isn't the best, but his top speed and acceleration is so good that I think it's worth it. So I'm going to show off another path here by heading on in here. And right here is a long straightaway where using your boost is actually very beneficial. As you can see, my top speed gets insane in here if I actually was able to maintain it, which I was not able to. Now, if we can hit that... Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Maybe using Mandrill for this particular course was not the play. I typically use the character I unlocked in the last race for this one, but I wanted to try to use Mandrill because I still think he's like the best racer we have right now. Although that is going to change very, very soon. In fact, I believe the course after this, we unlock a better pod racer than this guy. And then, not to be outdone, the last racer that we are going to be unlocking in this first circuit that we're in, so this first of 7 races, is like the second best character in the entire game. So we'll be using them a lot as well, and I can't wait to talk about them in due time. So another reason that I'm obviously doing this Let's Play is because I didn't do very good in my first Let's Play. Let's just say that much. I was not super knowledgeable, but I was also just not all that super practiced or even that good at the game at the time. And now that I kind of know all the courses really well, I actually know the mechanics of the game a lot better. And, you know, not to mention the fact that the controls are just straight up better in this version, I have a lot more confidence in that I can actually show what this game is supposed to be here, which is good. That Let's Play was a little bit regrettable, especially for the fact that YouTube's algorithm did bring it to the forefront of search results, which is always a little bit scary for me because I know a lot of those Let's Plays are not the best in the world, particularly my Midnight Club and Medal of Honor Let's Plays that people like to comment on oh so much. Golly, are they outdated. All right, I'm going to... Oh, no, I missed it. Crap. Oh, no, I wanted to get up there. If you break through that ice, that is the other alternate path you can take, which is actually a lot faster than the one I'm taking now, but I completely missed that. But at least you know where it is. I did point it out. And now we can just head through the cave once more. If you want to know the ideal path, it's going... it's taking that initial shortcut right at the start of the lap, or the start of the race, which you can only take on laps 2 and 3. And then at the very end here, going above the cave rather than in the cave. Don't go in the cave. It's not... It's just not as fast. Okay, we're going to go right through the arch here. There we go. Let's hit our boost. There we go. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. Now you can tug back on the control stick while in midair to slow your descent, or you can speed it up by obviously nosediving, by pressing forward. Although I would never recommend doing that. It's never a good idea. I typically like to maintain that descent because you don't actually lose any speed while you're in midair. Most of the time, anyway. Not to mention, it's always better to soften that landing because it is very easy to blow up your pod racer in this game. I should have gone in the cave again. I don't know why I went up again, but this is the path you're going to want to take most times. I wanted to take the left path in the cave, but I failed to do that. Oops. All right, let's get this race finished with a little boost right here at the end, and boom. All right, hey, got a new lap record right there on lap 3. Not bad. Not bad at all. So we've unlocked another character, Arbito. This guy has a very high top speed, but a very poor acceleration and turning. If you can maintain his speed, he is actually pretty darn good, but doing so is not the easiest. All right, so this guy, Clegg Holdfast, he is the one I'm going to want to unlock next, or use next. I think for this one, I'm going to use this guy, Evie Endicott, because he's actually pretty darn good too. Let's head on over to the junkyard. Okay, actually, usually the more degraded the part is, the more likely you're going to want to shell out money for it, because that means that the value has a long way to go, and selling that part is actually going to get you a long ways if you do it. So I'm going to buy that one right there. Like I said, you can do about 3 every race. Let's do that turning one. I think that's good. And I want to see the top speed one real quick. Is that affordable? It is. Ooh, perfect. Yes, we will buy that. We'll pass on the accelerate one. All right, let's start this race. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, I finally got that timing down. Let's go back into zoom out mode and let's do this thing. So I don't think this guy has the best cooling on his boost, so we're not going to be able to use it a whole lot, but that's okay. Man, this pod racer handles so nicely. Okay, I like that a lot. Maybe I should have used this guy. I don't think he has the best boost upkeep, though, which is why I wasn't using him before. But oh, maybe I'm wrong about that. Because, golly, this pod racer handles beautifully. But the guy we're about to get in this race is even better, so we'll definitely be using him. So right here, these doors are not going to be opening and closing on the first lap here, so you're going to want to make sure you alternate. But in subsequent laps, you're going to be wanting to you want to go towards the door that is starting to open, if that makes sense. Because if you do that and you hurry straight through it, you can actually just go straight through while the other door past it is starting to close. You just got to time it properly. This is a mechanic that is present in every version of this race. So I should probably explain that for those who don't know. All of the courses in this game kind of build on one another. There is a very small, I think there's like 8 different planets, and each planet has multiple races on it. And the further you go throughout the circuits, the longer those courses will become. This game is like, this game is an endurance test with most of these courses. There's a lot of them where you're going to have 2 to 3 minute lap times as your fastest, just because of how long a lot of these courses go for. And like I said, each one builds upon each other. So when we come back to this planet, a lot of these rooms and a lot of these areas that we're racing through right now will reoccur in later versions of the same planet, but they'll be incorporated in such a way that the course is made a lot longer, and there will be more things added to it and whatnot. So with every course, you're kind of learning the layout of it, but on top of that, you're using that knowledge and then carrying it over into subsequent versions of the course, which is then going to also throw new obstacles at you. It'll make more sense when we actually do like a second version of one of the races we've already done, which unfortunately we won't be experiencing until we get to the second circuit. But it'll all make sense in due time. There are 4 circuits in this game, by the way. The amateur, the intermediate, and the professional circuits. And then there's also the open invitational circuit. The open invitational circuit is a bit more of a secret circuit. You can only unlock each of its 4 races by finishing the other circuits. And their courses are vastly different from earlier courses in the game, as you will see in due time. Don't you worry. But I think we should be able to get through like at least one more. Oh, dang it! That was dumb. That was dumb. Yeah, careful with the boosts. Make sure you don't switch terrain too fast while using a boost. That's a good way to make yourself crash. But what I was going to say is we should be able to get through at least 1, maybe 2 more races in this episode before we finally call it quits. I've already lost track of time on this one. Oh gosh, I hope I don't. If I have to make this one a little extra long, I think I'll be okay. I think we'll do 2 more, and then we'll call it. Although not the next course, but the one after that is one of the longer courses in the game, so that might be a little while. Okay, I'm going to switch off of this map view, and we're going to go to this one. Well, actually, I don't know. Do you guys like this one? I have always preferred this map view because it shows me just how far ahead of the competition I am, or just how close they are if I'm screwing up a lot. So, but I've always felt like it's a little bit obstructive. I don't know. Maybe I should keep it up. I was going to just do the normal map view, but since I actually know most of the courses pretty well, I think I'll go back to the map view for like some of the later, harder courses, because it is pretty nice to actually know what's coming up on some of those courses, because they can get a little bit brutal with knowing where to go or when you're going to need to turn or brake or whatnot. All right, so we have unlocked Clegg Holdfast, our third unlock in the game. He is a phenomenal pod racer, so we're going to actually switch on over to him. Some great stats right there, although his air brake is really poor, so I'm going to see if I can upgrade that right now. See, can I actually get a lot of money? Nope, that's actually a downgrade, so let's not do that. That is a very poor... Ooh. I don't know if I like that. I mean, I know his air brake can't be improved all that much anyway. Here, let's buy that. Let's buy that one. We are going to need it for the next race. And then let's go with... Okay, we can't afford an accelerate bonus. How about a turning bonus? Is that possible? Nope, not possible. Okay, maybe just... Not that one. I don't want to actually downgrade for that. I think we'll just do the cooling upgrade then. Or repair, excuse me. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so this next course that we're about to jump into has some tight turns on it. It's also, the track favorite is Ellen Mack, who is a character that we already have unlocked, so we will not be getting anyone new from this one. Okay, let's do this thing. So this is Malastare. This one actually, I believe, was mentioned in the first movie. I think it was Qui-Gon who mentioned it. He said, "I've seen pod racing on Malastare. Very fast, very dangerous." I think that was the quote. I know that stuff too well, because I totally grew up on the prequels and unashamedly love them to death, even though I will absolutely fully admit they are cheesy and bad in a lot of areas. Just going to say it right now, Revenge of the Sith, it's my favorite Star Wars movie to this day. I love everything good about it, and I love everything bad about it. Everything that's good at it is genuinely good, and everything that's bad about it is like an amazing meme, and I adore it. I am absolutely a frequenter of Reddit's r/prequel memes, and I will unabashedly share those memes with anyone and everyone when I get the chance, because I love them. I adore the prequels. I really do, for everything good and bad about them. Although I will also admit that Attack of the Clones is probably the worst Star Wars movie, and Phantom Menace is not that far off, even if there are some things I absolutely love about that movie. Star Wars opinions. I'm sure people are going to love hearing that. Because, you know, everyone loves to hear people's opinions on Star Wars. It's always a welcome discussion and never incites controversy or debates of any kind. But those are my opinions on Star Wars, so there you go. At least the prequels. I should say, I mean, I grew up on the prequels. I love them. I was 6 when Phantom Menace came out, and I was like a teenager while Attack of the Clones and, well, specifically Revenge of the Sith was coming out. Loved those movies to death. As a kid, I am an adult. I can, you know, look back on things with hindsight and understand that maybe things aren't as good as I thought they were when I was a child. I'm not stupid, but at the same time, they have a special place in my heart. But that being said, I did grow up on the original trilogy before the prequels. I was watching A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi as young as 3 years old. Like, I loved those movies well before I even saw Phantom Menace. So to say that, like, I was just a dumb kid who didn't know how good the original trilogy was, that's not true. I adored the original trilogy. I just also grew up on the prequels and loved them. No, it's the sequels I hate. So, and I think that's like a pretty popular opinion to have now. Anyways, I'm going to try to stop crashing. That turn is so hard to make without a proper air brake statistic, but now we can just boost to the end. Boom! Not bad. Lap record and total race time record. Pretty good. All right, let's get in one more here on this one, Uvu 4, and we're going to be unlocking the character Fudsang on this one. I'm going to hop back into the junkyard again. You want to make sure that you make an appearance at the junkyard as much as possible. Always a good thing to do. Okay, top speed. And also, when your parts do get repaired, it should mention it does also increase their effectiveness. So let's see, can I get that? Oh, I don't think I can buy anything this time. I might just have to pass entirely. Let's see. Is there any time I can... Ooh, no. How about cooling? Can I get like a good return on that? No. Okay, so let's pass on that. I think we'll just go into the next race, which is not something you really want to do. By the way, you didn't hear it from me, but if you head back to the change vehicle screen, it will reset what's in the junkyard if you're not pleased with it. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to take what the game gives me and work with it. This game is not hard. It really isn't. I know I struggled at it a lot in the N64 version, but that version is objectively harder, like by a lot. The AI, well, for one, the AI is stronger, but two, the controls in that game are so much worse. Turns are so much harder to make in the N64 version. And I know I've had a lot of people already come at that Let's Play with, like, the hindsight of playing this edition and going, man, you suck at that game. No, it's harder. It's a lot harder. The turn radius in that game is very poor, and then also the N64 control stick. It's just not designed for that, man. It really isn't. It is so much easier to make your turns in this edition than it is in the N64 version, and I would know because I actually went and tried it not that long ago. Okay, let's actually go there sideways through that. This is the part I always struggle on, is this right here, going through these asteroids on this edition. It is so hard to time that and not hit those things. Oh my goodness. You're supposed to use both your roll function and your turn function in conjunction with one another to avoid these sorts of things. Oh, okay, there we go. And I was not using the roll function before, which is my bad. Oh my gosh, it's so hard not to crash. It's so hard not to crash at this part. But only on this edition. In the N64 version, it's like a piece of cake, and I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. I seriously don't know why these two editions change in that way so much, but that's okay because I'll be able to get ahead of the competition really easily here in the next few parts, although I am kind of worried about all the degradation I have now given to my parts with those two crashes. You don't want to be crashing. You just straight up don't. It's really bad, and it really slows down your progress when you do it. But if I could not crash there, that would be great. Let's keep on trucking through, keeping our boost up. I can boost a lot with this character, which I do like. Okay, let's go hard left. Don't go so far left that the camera pulls out of the track again like it did on the first lap. That was so weird. Yes, I totally did notice it because it really threw me off. Watch out for those things. Don't hit those. They are low hanging enough that they will rip your head clean off. And there we go. All right. Oh, excuse me. Okay, can we get through that? There we go. All right, now for this part, which is always so fun. Okay, we're good. Okay, use your roll. Oh my gosh, how do you avoid that, man? I tried to pull up as far away from it as I can, and it won't let me. It won't let me. Okay, let's just keep going. Okay, there we go. We're good. You can roll to keep the asteroid underneath you. There you go. That's how you avoid it. Let's do that. Okay, let's slow it down a little bit. Watch out for those. Perfect. Okay, I made it through a little bit more cleanly that time. Let's see if I can actually dodge the laser on the next turn. That would be great. Oh, man. Okay, hit the boost. Come on. There we go. Now see if we can maintain this for a second. Racers are a little bit closer to me than I would like. There is definitely rubber band AI in this game. Like, absolutely. It's very, very prevalent. But, I mean, that's not all that dissimilar from most racing games of the time period. The only racing game from this era that I can remember that didn't have, like, super egregious rubber band AI was, I think, Diddy Kong Racing. And that game had a very flat difficulty. I don't think it had rubber band at all. It was just a much more difficult game in general. I mean, it might have been like even dynamic difficulty of some kind. It certainly wasn't rubber banding though. But it was much more smartly handled in that game than it was in other racing games of the era. Like, Mario Kart 64. I know people love that game, but the rubber banding in that game makes me want to punch. It is so bad. It is one of the worst examples of rubber banding in video game history, and it's like not even close. Okay, there we go. Okay, I just had to roll under that. Now if we can just keep our cool here. Whoa, okay, we're good. We're good. There we go. I'm doing it. Okay, wasn't able to last forever. Oh, man. That is so difficult to get through without crushing. And also, your speed goes up so high in this part that it's really difficult to not... it's really difficult to slow down and just bump the rocks as opposed to careening into them. But we're still going to win this race. I crashed 4 times, which is, I mean, borderline unacceptable. But that is one of the only parts in this game I still really, really struggle with. And hey, we still got a lap record and a time record, and we have unlocked a new character, Fud Sang, who is actually a pretty decent pod racer, but I will not be using him for the next course because I'm going to stick with Clegg Holdfast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I hope you all enjoyed it very, very much. In the next episode, we are going to unlock one of the best characters in the entire game. Also, jump on into the semi-pro pod racing circuit, as well as the open invitational circuit. So that's all going to be very, very exciting. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you all then.